Here we are.
Here we are, everyone. Yes, it's Val, Dragonfly Crystals on Heart and Soul Connected. Aley Martin's channel, Alice Martin. Yes, it is. We're going to answer. Actually, Aley is going to answer questions.
Not me. They're going to tell me.
I am going to ask Aley questions that she is going to channel through the answers from the Akashic Record Masters. And this is always a really fun and interesting show, because you will hear things that you've always wondered about, and you get the answer to it. I mean, I sit here and go, oh.
I know. I do the same thing because every other week, every other time I'm on her channel asking her, and she's giving the answers. And so,
it's just beautiful to be able to experience that and have someone in this format of a whole hour-long show answer these questions. So it's just wonderful. And it's not that you all can put questions in the chat, but they need to be universal questions for everyone, because otherwise that's our format for this show. Nothing personal. Although everything that we are going to go over today and ask the Akashic Records is going to mean something to all of us.
Yeah. Now I remember what I was trying to tell you backstage, and that is when I was on with Fernando Marone yesterday, his book talks about how hard it is to sit in with a sitter and to go between the question, the answer, going into the third party, going into the chat. And this forum, the way we do this, makes it so much easier for the both of us to do this. And so it's the best of the forums we have.
It really is. It really is, to stay in the energies of the Akashic field and access the records and just have somebody give you the questions. Most definitely.
You don't have to be worried about anything else.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So I just want to say hi to Deke and Amanda. Carol, good to see you. I love all of you being here, and I know some of you probably were surprised because I changed the time on people. So I'm sorry.
It's all good.
But here we are, and we're going to go ahead and start, because I don't want to lose out on all these questions getting answered. And so, Aley, I'll start. So this first part is about universal truths and the cosmic perspective. And I want to ask the Akashic Record Masters, what universal truth is rising now for humanity that we are finally ready to understand?
The universal truth that is coming to me from the Akashic Records Masters is the illusion of separation and the illusion of understanding of something that comes to us in differing lenses, I want to say, differing lenses, whereas there are many who believe they speak the truth, or even do not speak the truth, but try to profess that theirs is the only truth. And we are beginning to see more and more people that are empowering themselves and finding their own truth in and around some of the many distractions that appear through many differing entertainment places, television, computer, even books that have been written without full truths in them. So there is a sort of enlightenment coming to people, recognizing that their truth must come from themselves, and not from what others say, but also recognizing when those things are not truthful and how they're going to take in their own ascension to what is discerned as truth and what is discerned not as truth, if that makes sense.
Beautiful. Yes, it does. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's a great one. I like that. And what is the Akashic perspective on the current energetic shift happening on Earth?
The Akashic Records Masters are saying so much is happening that the chaotic maelstrom that we're seemingly inside of is much like a tornadic whirling, and that many of the things that are currently happening and the way that the energy is moving can shift depending also upon some of the astrological or planetary shifts that are happening as well. They're feeling as though we are right on track for where it is we need to be, and yet they're cautioning us to remember who we are and where we are in the grand scheme of things, and to use one's patience. Do not ask for it, they're saying, but do use patience in understanding that time is different on that side, or even in the Akashic side, than it is on the earthbound reality.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That makes sense. And what illusion is humanity dissolving right now?
Belief in structures that have been set in place or in motion that do not have the best intentions and consideration for mankind's evolution. There are many who would profess that their way is the only way. This has been from time immemorial. People are beginning to see through the veneer and see that the agenda that many people hold for their truth and what they see and profess to know is not always aligned with the basic compassionate understanding of another entity.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. That's beautiful. And what is the next evolutionary step for human consciousness?
The 5D ascension evolution is reaching its tipping point. Many people are already feeling as though there has been a tremendous shift in their perceptions of the way the world works, of the way their lives work, the awareness of no separation. Once those groups of people firmly come together and reach a tipping point, which is always pivotal in getting things to move forward, the others will come as they grow and learn through their lifetimes. But there still will remain many who are here, they're only their first lifetimes, or who are not made available to this kind of thing. It doesn't have anything to do with the trajectory of their soul or their spiritual evolution per se. It's about learning and growing in a more grounded environment in order for them to eventually become one with the ascension process, whether that be later in this particular lifetime or one that they will reincarnate into in the future.
Perfect. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. Something to look forward to. And what outdated belief system are human beings asked to release at this time? Outdated belief systems.
There are many outdated belief systems that people have been kicking and screaming not to release for so many decades, years, millennia. Some of those are that some written spiritual texts are not meant metaphorically, but they are meant aligned with exactly what they say. And there is finally going to be some recognition that all spiritual texts were translated many, many years after the initial time that they occurred. And so it would be as though writing a firsthand account of the Civil War, if you were living in this time period. You can't know what happened at that time except through historical record. The same thing is aligned with spiritual text. The other thing that is becoming more and more possible, and it will take a tower moment to completely collapse, although we're seeing some early signs that that's already occurring, is that their belief in political leaders who run horrific regimes will finally come to light in some who tend to believe in the propaganda that they explicate.
That is lovely. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. Thank you for explaining that. That helps a lot. And we're moving on now to collective energies and timelines. Okay. So what timeline is currently opening for humanity that is highest and most aligned?
The timeline has made several shifts within the past year and a half that have indicated new realizations. This has made it very, very difficult also for those in the psychic community to feel as though they have a very clear message from the Akashic Records Masters, even though we are always available and always truth seeking. But there are many who have misinterpreted some of the signs. They are to happen, but they aren't to happen yet. And a lot of that has to do with timing. Many psychics even have said, I can tell you what is envisioned for what's coming, but I can't tell you the timeline for that, because the timeline or the time period that will occur, because the timeline can change and shift depending on what is happening. So what I'm feeling is that there is more of a recognition that the messages that are being received from the other side, or from the Akashic Records Masters, or from psychic ability, are not incorrect. They simply are not yet happening. And this has thrown some consternation into the psychic community, where people have felt less than, or they've felt like, how could I have misinterpreted something like that? And it is not clearly the fault of the interpretation of the initial event. It's just in the interpretation of when that timeline comes. So we're coming up on a convergence of timelines sometime in the spring or early summer that hopefully will have everything sort of come together and congeal in it, provided nothing happens exponentially in the outside world that could have shifted depending upon some weather or some kind of I won't say collapse, but a problem with global satellite issues.
Ooh, okay, beautiful. Thank you. Well, something to look forward to in the spring.
Hope so. Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you, Masters.
Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. And I just want to stop and say hi again to Deke, Amanda Carroll, Shooting Star, Annie's Gifts, Edward Kenneth, Tasha, Nancy Riker, Teresa Tea Garden Chicken, and all of you. Thank you for joining us. And we have a few lurkers as well. So lurkers are always welcome.
Always.
And yeah, I'm sure a lot of you will catch this on the replay, and it will be just as powerful. So the next question, Akashic Record Masters, is what collective lessons are unfolding between now and early 2026? Collective lessons unfolding.
Some of the collective lessons that are unfolding are being seen played out in real time. The responsibility for one's fellow man / woman / they, let's say, is caring for and understanding and realizing not only are we all connected, but we are all brothers and sisters. We all have a divine connection and a divine spark. We are beginning to see that we are the responsible ones, that we cannot just expect somebody or something to come along and take care of itself. We are the ones that must reach out and help those in need. We are seeing that we have depended upon many of these things. And I'm not just talking about us here in this country, but throughout the world. We have seen people depend upon the help and assistance of others only to be cut off basically at the knees. And we're seeing a lot of death and destruction due to those cuts. So I'm beginning to see that people are becoming more and more compassionate, loving, and understanding. And although it may not be completely in the collective at this point, people are beginning to stand up and understand that in order for things to change, we have to be the catalysts ourselves and not think ourselves so small that what we do doesn't matter. What we do truly matters. And this is something that we're going to be seeing more and more of. And we must take that responsibility.
Oh, beautiful. That just gave me the chills. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. That's beautiful information. And thank you for sharing that with us. Very important information. How are the incoming cosmic frequencies supporting the ascension process?
Oh, the light codes are so busy. The light codes are many people not sleeping very well, including this entity. But at the same time, there are downloads coming in constantly. So much that some of us are feeling. This is helpful. Thank you, Akasha Records Masters. So many we're feeling like we forget things, that we can't remember what we were going to say. We can't remember what we were going to do. Why did I walk in the kitchen? And this isn't just older folk. This is everyone. Yeah. Everyone is feeling completely bombarded with energies that will uplift us in the ascension. But we have to remember that we're still living here in 3D in some way and operating from that zone. And so to try to stand in between the two dimensions, to move from here to there, to move up as we go and carry along whoever else might be behind us. We have to give ourselves the grace of understanding that though we may not see it, we are being operated on by the energies, and we are expanding our light bodies. And so there will be some give and take with regard to our memory function.
Oh, yeah. And Annie's Gifts is saying, been there, done that, Aley. So
Absolutely.
That is really, we're all there. Me too.
So oh God, they said we've been listening to you for a long time, complaining about this.
So, yeah, thank you. That was very timely, Akashic Record Masters. Thank you for sharing that. And that is so true. Mm-hmm. So my next question is, what is the role of light workers during this next energetic wave?
The role of light workers can clearly be seen by how community has sort of opened the curtains to shows such as your community has, Shine Your Light. It's opened us to programming on television stations that speak about what we've been through before and how we can get through this now, because learning from the past is always very important for us. And so because the astrological construct is so similar to other times of turmoil, even within the entire world, not just the United States, we can look to those things as way showers, as signs along the roadway, if we take the time to do so and recognize we still have plenty of more things to learn, but we should never stop learning.
Right. Oh, thank you, Akashic Record Masters. Good point. Thank you. How can individuals best navigate the acceleration we are experiencing?
This thing, hold on to your hat.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like you're on a roller coaster and you're wearing one of those feather hats, and if you don't hold on to it, when you hit the top and you're heading downward again, your hat's going to blow off. So it's like there's lots of hats down at the bottom of a roller coaster. But what I'm feeling is these really deep pitches and escalations and pitches again are something that are really difficult for many of us. It can affect our emotions. It can affect our health. It can affect our blood pressure. It can affect the way that we hold patience with others whom we may not normally have any problem holding patience for. And maybe get a hat that ties under your chin or something. Because we got a ways to go. They're saying we got a ways to go. Yeah.
That's good. I love that, Akashic Record Masters. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. And now we're moving on to soul path, purpose, and destiny questions. Mm-hmm. What is the Akashic view of soul destiny during this incarnational cycle? This particular one for humanity.
Mm-hmm. This intense time that we find ourselves in has been for us who have lived before, but maybe not in as much of an intense time before, has been chosen by our souls in order to escalate our own ascension process in our lifetime soul intention, but also as a collective. So there are many people who are doing the work that were part of the Lemurian group of people, or the Egyptian group of people, or the Atlantean group of people, or even perhaps the American Revolution or the Civil War, or et cetera, et cetera. And what they're saying is, we signed up for the project, and the Akashic Records masters are chuckling because they're saying, we know some of you are really mad you did this. You're not thrilled with the way things are working out. But please know there is a reward at the end. You will get a toy in your Cracker Jack box. And so there is something coming. They want you to persevere as much as you can, but also to realize that you have others to lean on here, where in other times, that was just simply not possible except through either letter or even mind discussion. You have a momentary to momentary ability to speak with people all over the world, and actually even from other worlds, those that have come to help us from other worlds as well. So the ability to do this had to come about prior to this particular time period that we're living in. And so it took a lot of time for that to happen. And it had to come to a tipping point again, so that we all were here at the right time together, because some were first wave volunteers, some second, some third, some are just coming in realizing they might have been a first wave, but they just recognized they were. So it's never too late to recognize. It's never too late to ascend. And the work that you do as light workers is exponentially huge for this time period. And, you know, it's hard, but you have help. And all you need to do is ask each other for it.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. That's beautiful, beautiful. And along that same line, how do souls choose their roles in times of planetary transition?
Some of them can choose exactly what they want to do. For instance, I would like to come in with psychic ability and be able to work with groups of people, to channel people, to work with healing, to work with, because everything has something to do with this. If you play crystal bowls, if you do rolfing or Reiki work or what, that's all part of the equation. Some people have decided they'd like to try it out, but they've sort of said, put me where you think I'm needed, which we need people like that.
Yeah.
But some of those people were, I want to say, waiting in line for the right body. And sometimes they had to come in earlier or later, depending on who was available and where they were available.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Akashic Record Masters. That was beautiful. And what does the Akashic Records want people to know about their soul purpose right now?
Trust that wherever you are in the right place, and do not look for your gifts outside of yourself. Go inside and look. And the hardest thing for people to understand is that still small voice inside of you is your intuition, is your higher self, is telling you what you need to know, and what you need to know for now and later and wherever it is. And to be a light worker and is not like on the bottom of the rungs. Some people, oh, well, I'm just a light worker. No, that's huge. There is no better than another ever. Mm-hmm. Everyone's just different and has a different ability. And every one of those things must come together in a huge whole in order to make this rise up. And so never feel as though you are not important in any way, because just by virtue of the fact that you are here, you chose to come here, you are important.
Beautiful, beautiful. That was just wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Akashic Record Masters. So everyone's part of that puzzle. And the puzzle pieces they all need to fit in there.
They do, to make a full picture. Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. So what is the most common misalignment people experience on their path, and how can they correct it?
A lot of misalignments come from just simply not remembering to ground, not remembering to put a protective light around ourselves, not remembering to smudge, to to work in the highest sacred order as possible. And this is just something simply that can be done by putting a sticky Post-it note, perhaps, by the door before you go out, or putting it in the car, or just reminding yourself that it's always very, very important to stay at the highest vibration possible, particularly when you're walking into a place that there are a lot of lower vibrational people who don't know they're lower vibrational people. But if you walk into a place, I want to say something like you walk into the DMV to get your license renewed. And while you're in there, there's 300 people in there. That's a lot of people to be around. You don't know what their energy is carrying. And so protect yourself. That would be the admonition that the masters would want you to remember.
I love that. Thank you. Very important information to remember out there with all those energies.
Right.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Akashic Record Masters, what hidden strengths are many people awakening to now?
They're saying the word resilience, and they're saying perseverance as well. And these are very strong spiritual traits. If we go down deeply into the rabbit hole, we see that most of the hardest lessons we have to endure come from adversity and suffering. And sometimes it's not something that we particularly move ourselves into. It's just, it happens outside of ourselves, but it's how we react to it that does sort of the damage and lowers the vibration. But they're saying that although suffering and adversity are difficult, they actually move us to become more resilient and to persevere. Unless we're in a situation where we have multiple occurrences of this type of suffering, and then we are almost debilitated in that. This is when it's a good time for you to go within and to ask for angel protection anytime. Speak out loud, ask for archangel protection, ask for ancestral protection, and treat yourself lovingly and kindly, and realize that this too shall pass. And when it does, your vibration is actually going to lift even higher, because you suffered through something in order to get to the other side. And there is reward in that.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. That's lovely. And now moving on to healing, embodiment, and ascension questions. What healing frequency is the collective most in need of at this time?
They're bringing up compassion again, but they're also bringing up kindness, including kindness to oneself. Self-care being important in order to be able to create the ability to show kindness and compassion in others. They would like us to vibrate at a higher frequency by use of some of the tuning fork energy. I believe 1063 is angelic healing. One of them is angelic healing. And these things, they can be bought. The Akashic records say they don't know about all that. They just know they're there. but they can heal not only our vibration, but also our bodies in some way, and bring in the angelic energies that we so desperately need. Yeah.
Beautiful. So tuning forks, they are out there, everyone.
Yeah.
So you can definitely buy yourself a set, and it, frequency and healing is everything. So
it is everything.
It's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters, for sharing that. And the next question is, what is the Akashic understanding of embodiment in the new energies?
Embodiment in the form of they're showing me floating Buddhas or monks. They're saying you're not going to be doing this, but you could do that. You may not think you can, but you can. You will lighten up. You live on a very dense planet, and so it's hard to, quote, lighten up, even when people tell you to. But they're saying that there's more buoyancy, there is more connection with the divine, and a sense of peace and purpose that transcends and tries to mitigate as much as possible the negative energies that do exist and probably always will exist in some densities.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Oh my gosh, that's great. Good to know. And Akashic Record Masters, what part of humanity, what part of the human emotional body is receiving the most upgrades right now?
I'm hearing agape, love, which is love of fellow mankind, that kind of thing. But I'm getting heart and high heart, particularly high heart. We're always, you try to be centered in the heart, but the high heart is just as important, and definitely feeling it in the third eye and above. And there are chakras above us. And so there is some kind of chakra upgrade where we have always had the chakras up above, but now we may even feel them more than we do in our previous work with that.
Oh, beautiful. That's interesting and something to look out for. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. That's wonderful. And how can people open themselves to more ease and grace during ascension?
Water, rest. We are not your mother. Self-care. Rest is particularly interesting. The dream time that everyone actually has, but some people do not remember, is the time for clearing, the time for understanding, and the time for symbol and message. While some of us will not remember them or haven't remembered them in the past, there are clues that will occur during the day for you if you're open to listening to them. And some of them will come in synchronicities, and some of them are almost inexplicable to other people. And it comes with the idea that we all need, the Akashic Records Masters say it's wonderful to know or think you know something, but never forget the element of surprise, because it really brings more joy to you when you realize that it's something that probably you just hadn't seen before, and it's right there in front of you. Yeah.
Okay, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. We do have a question from the chat by Lee Omega. And they have a question. about when we die, do other versions of us die as well? Akashic Record Masters.
Very interesting question, and one that probably a lot of people have wondered about. Because the Akashic Records holds every single thing that's ever happened through all time and all space, those versions of ourselves are not extinguished. Those versions of ourselves still do exist. And this is why we're able to tap into the soul level of an individual and know previous lifetimes, previous, understandings of those things. As a soul who reincarnates, we have different reasons to come through, which simply add to the mix. But it's you always hold the original soul. The original soul goes nowhere. And I would say you could look at it like just a different set of clothes or a different set of eyeglasses or spy glasses that each lifetime created holds the memories of those times and the lessons of those times, and they aggregate. We should remember what they are, but if we don't, we can ask what they were, we can learn what they were, but some version of us still remains, and never dies.
I love
in
that.
all the times. Right.
I love that. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters, for answering that. And what ancient or dormant abilities are coming online now?
People are understanding now that they can communicate without speaking. And many people who have been able to do this with if they're psychic and they have that gift or ability, they've been able to do this forever. But this isn't, we're so used to speaking. It's kind of like, it's the lazy way out. But we also, our dogs and our cats and our horses, and they all speak to us. And we understand and recognize their language, and they understand and recognize our language. And they can look at us and know exactly what it is we're thinking. And they adjust to that. And we can do that. And we do that with people we know real well. We can look at them and say, you don't look like you feel well. Or you upset about something, whatever it is. Yeah. But we should be able to do that with anybody. And so that is coming up and coming online. Well, we won't have to use the voice as much. We won't get laryngitis anymore.
Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. That's beautiful. And yeah, that's so true. Telepathy, that kind of communication is definitely there happening. So thank you for that. And we switch into now relationships, community, in the unity field. How are relationships evolving in the new consciousness?
Relationships have been going through a lot of changes, probably since your 1960 era. And they have grown and changed, and now have changed probably the very most with the transgendered understandings and belief systems. As far as love relationships go, in particular, relationships are becoming extended and understood in differing ways with other entities, including extraterrestrial entities and extraordinary entities that are on the earth, such as the elementals and fairies. And people are, people used to laugh that the Irish would say they saw these wee munchkins in the, or these little leprechauns or whatever. They probably did. But when you get laughed at and you get, you tend to. So those things are beginning to make their way into appropriate understanding and not scoffed at as much as they used to be. However, there will always be a lower vibration again. that will hold fast to things being only the way they see it. And I see this as a black and white world that these folks live in, and it's of no fault of their own. It is a choice of their own, however.
Okay, that's beautiful. Beautifully said, Akashic Record Masters. Thank you for that. Mm-hmm. And what does the record say about soul family reconnection during this time?
Everybody that you've ever met or interacted with, let's put it that way, because there are some folks, especially in this community, we have never met. We have never met in person. That's all. Yeah. All are part of a past life, a past agreement, a past soul family connection. There are no people that you have never met before. They have been part of your life. It could be for good, it could be for ill, and it's all a healing process. So what it's done is it's opened up our hearts more to heal and work within the abilities that are possible, because not everyone will ever like everyone else. But at the same time, there are ways that this heals the soul family, in that there is an understanding that we may not be perfect individuals, but the way that we work with our energies is perfectly suited for that soul family's growth.
Love that. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. That was beautiful. And Akashic Record Masters, how can communities anchor more unity consciousness?
The small community that exists within the realm of this particular YouTube exponentially huge umbrella is a good start at that connection. There are people who honestly and sincerely care for the other. They ask for the other. They pray for the other. They put the other in meditation. They enjoin themselves with others and feel connected to them. This is something that can occur in social media settings. However, because of the mix of people that go to social media settings, it's very, very different. And you find more pushback, anger, propaganda.
Yeah.
There's not the same energy flow. But when you get a group of people who believe in essentially the same thing, they may not believe everything that the other believes, but essentially the same thing, then you have that ease and flow of community that can't be beat anywhere else. And hopefully that will change. And these places, they are for profit. This is the problem. Some of these social media places are absolutely for profit, and they want to instigate problems. Mm-hmm. If you can create a community that is not for profit as its first and foremost ideal, I think you get people who really are committed and kind.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much. That's a wonderful, wonderful information. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. And what blocks to connection are dissolving right now?
The clearest block to connection that is starting to dissolve is people realizing that things have more meaning than they originally believed. And yet not all things appear to have meaning. And you have a cynic who will say to you, not all things have a meaning, or not all symbols, for instance, have a particular meaning, which is difficult to swallow. At the same time, there are those that are very gullible, in other parts of our world that believe everything that someone else says and nothing of what they feel and what they believe. They don't know what they believe. They want someone else to tell them what they believe. They want someone else to tell them how to act, who to be, what to do. And they do not self-empower. And so by letting guard down and looking for those things that come to us, whether they be a song lyric, we turn the TV on at the right moment for something, we walk outside and find a feather. I know these things may not seem huge. They all have a particular meaning. And that meaning for you may be different than that meaning for other entities. But that shield is starting to come down, whereby we have recognition of something that perhaps has always been there again, but was never, ever understood.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. That really helps us understand everything. And Akashic Record Masters, what role does compassion play in our next evolutionary step?
Compassion actually plays everything. There have been many wars and many ill treatments of people on the planet, animals on the planet. There is a huge contingent of people that recognize that the lessons have not been learned. How many times do we need the lessons to be in our face so that we know? And so compassion is very important. It's also important for us to be compassionate with people who clearly are not quite there. And it's very hard for us to be that when those people do not display any compassion, zero compassion. That's when we have to be the more compassionate person. Very hard to be. We almost feel like, oh, that would take a saint to be that way. But you can call on your higher angels and ask them, to cut away, ask Michael to cut away those things that you see in this person, because you would like to show compassion. I believe there are some people, if they receive compassion from a huge avalanche of people, would have something happen to them that they would be unsettled by.
Probably.
Sure. It might actually create a negative issue, but yeah, it's worth a try. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. That's beautiful. And Mary Thornberry has a question in this relationship venue of questions. Do we follow certain souls because we love them, even if they may not be enthused to do so, a person, but cannot give up the connection because of our attachment of love for them? How does the Akashic Record Masters view that in relationship?
That's a beautiful question, because there is such a tie or connection to this individual. Perhaps they were a parent, or they were someone that you loved in another lifetime. Perhaps you passed, they passed, and you love them, and there's no conclusion to that. There's no finality or ending. There are people we follow and we wonder why we follow them. And again, yes, the connection isn't as strong as perhaps it was in a past life, but there are lessons. Even though karma is beginning to be more clear, there still is a tie there. There's this invisible string, let's say, that holds you together with this person. And perhaps that person is necessary for your own life elevation, even if they're very secondary to other relationships that you have per se in your lifetime. There are people that will come and remind you of yourself as well, and remind you that perhaps if this person was aloof, that maybe there's a part of you that has some aloofness that you don't see. So some of this is mirroring, and some of it is trying to work on the connection in order for that connection to either be broken or strengthened.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. That makes it a lot more clear and to understand how this happens and how we can navigate it. Mm-hmm. So our next set of questions are about mystical, esoteric, and multidimensional insights. And the first one is, how are interdimensional beings supporting Earth right now?
I'm seeing a chain that goes all the way around the circumference of the Earth. And then they're building a chain around it this way. And then they have another one this way. It's like, if you could see the chains, and I don't mean like heavy chains, weight chains. I just mean like chains of light all around the Earth. The support has accrued because of the necessity of the time period and the elevation of us into the fifth dimension. They're here to support and love us and to help us understand what it is we're going through as best they can. They've always been a support for us, but now it's exponentially bigger because they have also brought in new entities, new extraterrestrial entities that are here to provide us with assistance as well. And some of those are hybrid entities and are very much aligned with at least half of them being Earthlings.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Akashic Record Masters. And what ancient knowledge is resurfacing on the planet?
We are seeing a resurgence in places like Egypt and places like, is it Tilbeki something or other? I can't remember the whole name of it. Mm-hmm. They're showing it to me, but I can't. Tilbeki's, anyway, older civilizations. We're seeing those civilizations sort of rise from the ground, so to speak, because they've been buried underneath so deeply for so long, over millennia. But the understanding, especially in the Egyptian, is huge, because it has there have been a lot of revelations within the last 200 or 300 years that show that it's got extraterrestrial origin, and there's other places all around the planet with the same energy. And so we're seeing that, we've been told, oh no, there's no people, but there've been people from forever. I mean, entities from other planets, ETs. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much, Akashic Record Masters. And I think that the place you were talking about is Göbekli Tepe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I could see it, but I couldn't get it out of my mouth.
It's just a man-made name we gave it. So,
that's right. That's right.
It doesn't, that's really,
yes.
So I love that. So what is one multi-dimensional truth that we are now ready to integrate? And this will be our last question.
The multidimensional truth is that we do exist, and in multiple timelines, in multiple universes, whether that just be our shadow selves or not, and meaning that we could be existing there as a totally different entity, but we could also be just existing there without being seen. Just our spirit is there, part of our spirit. The other thing is that that there is more of a belief now in the fact that there always have been and always probably will be extraterrestrial visitors that we have here, and abilities to learn more scientifically, and even things like the moon having some kind of a strobe light that was caught on one of the satellites, We have lived on the moon. We have lived in Mars. I mean, there's all of those things. And when finally your government let people come in and talk about these things, there was no confusion or immediate denial or fear, seemingly so, from the group of people that were there. It is though we have been treated as children here, and now the Pandora's box is opened up. We are the ones that must step forward to look at all the things that are included in that box. It's up to us to do that and to discern the truth that has always been there, but we just never accepted.
Beautiful answer. Thank you so much, Akashic Record Masters. And I want to thank you for all the beautiful questions that you answered for us and all the amazing information that came through Akashic Record Masters. And thank Alice Martin for channeling through all these questions for a whole hour.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing. Yeah. Thank you. It was beautiful. And everyone, thank you for joining us in the chat and your beautiful questions. We really appreciate you and love you being here. And this information is very powerful truth. So it is something that to listen to with a very big open mind to accept in. However you hear it, just let it meld in.
And discern your own truth. Discern your own truth. Yes, absolutely.
So thank you all. And so like and subscribe to Heart and Soul Connected. Make sure you leave a 7 character message or, even heart emojis. That helps in the algorithms because somehow that notifies YouTube, hey, this is popular. We're putting it out there further. So just remember that. And
also please like and subscribe to Val's channel. She's fabulous.
And don't forget, in the next after 2 weeks time, we'll be on my channel, Dragonflight Crystals, and Aley will have the questions. Aley will have the questions. So thank you all, and love you guys. Mwah. Love you all for being here.
Bye, everybody. Thanks again.